Welcome back. This is Malbeefance again, and this is part 2 of our introduction to Fleet Commander Pacific. If you remember from the previous video, we did the first 2 turns of the game, so we're still early on in the war. The Japanese, the AI controlling the Japanese has taken a few critical losses. It's difficult for them to replace any losses. And hopefully I've cleaned up some of the audio issues as well. We'll see. So let's go ahead and get back into the game. It will pick up where we left off at the end of turn 2. It'll just do a quick recap here. So there is the victory point spread at the moment. The Japanese have 9. Allies are at 0. Basically, that's a teeter-totter. If I wind up, playing as the Allies, if I wind up getting more victory points than the AI, then it slides my way. Alright, so starting off into turn 2, the AI goes ahead and starts doing its returns. Now it's my turn to do my patrol returns. So the folks in the Coral Sea, bring them back to Port Moresby. The British and the Dutch return to Ceylon. In the Northern Pacific, return him to Dutch Harbor. Okay, now I got these guys down here. I want Chicago to stay here. Who else is in Pearl Harbor? Just Chicago and all of the damaged battleships from the raid. So I want to, whoops, did that backwards. Okay, I want Astoria to stay here also. I have plans for those cruisers. Now, New Mexico, the computer has to make a decision for next turn. Is it going to focus on the Battle of the Coral Sea to get Guadalcanal, or is it going to focus on taking Hawaii? As many times as I played this game, the computer generally tends to go after isolating Australia. So I will have the New Mexico return to Australia. That way it's easy for them to get here into the Coral Sea next turn. And then the 2 cruisers in the Micronesia, they go back. So now I got a couple of repair points available in Pearl Harbor. So we will repair Pennsylvania enough that she can get out of port and go to the West Coast, and use the last point on the Tennessee, and hopefully we'll be able to get her to the West Coast as well. Alright, so we move on to turn 3. There's your Japanese reinforcements, the mighty Yamato, a carrier, and some Marines. And then for the Allies, we get the Royal Australian Air Force, Royal New Zealand Air Force, some battleships, Marines, and a few British ships that may or may not prove to be helpful. The Japanese start the turn with sending out their patrollers. Alright, so we got 2 patrollers going into the Bay of Bengal. So that's either a small raid, or it may turn out to be a large raid depending on how the ships deploy. Because the AI still has, well, nope. I was going to say the AI still had 8 ships in Cameron Bay that they could have deployed into the area, but they chose to send them over here to the South Pacific. So there's only threat to Bay of Bengal right now is going to be these 10 ships here, which I believe are going to reinforce these vessels that the AI has sent into the Coral Sea. So we got 3 cruisers, 2 battleships, and a light cruiser, and a potential 3 more battleships, a lot of carriers, a couple of cruisers, and that Marine Corps division. Alright, so I get put out my patrollers. So battleship is going to go out here into the Coral Sea. We are going to have a contest in the Coral Sea. Bring out the cruisers. Have the entire British and Dutch forces in Ceylon just pounce on poor Hiai and Tonne. Hopefully they'll get some support. Either that or they'll get out of there. Otherwise they are dead. Alright, I got 4 cruisers and a carrier at Espiritu Santo. But first, San Francisco goes into the Aleutian Islands. Astoria to the northern Pacific, Chicago to the Hawaiian Islands. Alright, I have a feeling that there is going to be at least some kind of spoiler raid on the Hawaiian Islands, so I'm going to deploy the 2 slow battleships to support the Chicago. Down here at Samoa, get 1 ship out to patrol. Let's make it 2 just to be safe. Oh, they sent somebody down here. I did not see that. Kinugasa. Okay. So yeah, they're trying to isolate Australia. Alright, I'm done with my patrollers for now. Now we move to deploying our land-based air. So we're going to send the Aussies out to protect the Indian Ocean. And the Kiwis will assist in the Coral Sea. Now the only zones that you can put your land-based air is any place where you've actually got a base. Alright, so the AI doesn't have any bases in any places where we're going to fight, so they have to rely on their carriers unless I raid into one of these zones where they can deploy their land-based air. So it's kind of a gamble as you put out your land-based air. I could put land-based air into the South Pacific because I still control Guadalcanal, but I am going to try and concentrate it here in the Coral Sea, just in case all of them carriers up there come down this way. And I will send 11th Air Force out to Ceylon to help out, because I know that the British do not have a lot of air strength over there. Alright, I've got 1 land-based air left, 7th Air Force. I'm going to deploy them to Hawaii, just in case. Yep, so here comes the Yokosuka Marines. Kure Marines are moving down into the Indian Ocean so that they can eventually deploy down into the South Pacific. Now I deploy the U.S. Marines. I'm going to send them here to Micronesia because the idea is to land them on Espiritu Santo and then eventually get them to defend Guadalcanal. And here comes a massive deployment down into the Coral Sea. A couple of ships went into Indonesia. And here comes the spoiler attack into Micronesia. There's some support for the 2 capital ships that went to the Bay of Bengal. Now it's my raids. So let me let them 2 guys get there so I can see what we're dealing with all here. So we have the battle cruiser Hiai, the cruiser Tonne, the light carrier Hosho, and the carrier Hiryu. So Hiryu is actually dangerous. I don't really have enough air to consider it a match. But if I'm lucky and I get a night action, I can blow the carriers out of the water. Alright, so down here, what did we get? The Shokaku, Ryuho are the only carriers. Alright, so it's 4 battleships, 5 cruisers and a light cruiser. That's a lot more surface combatants than I can put out there for night battle, because I only have the 1 battleship available at the moment. And then I've got 2 heavy carriers all by themselves in Micronesia. That's a bad move on the part of the AI. Alright, so first, Yorktown and Hornet and a couple of supporting cruisers will go up against that Japanese carrier division. Everybody else. Oh yes, the battleship made her speed roll. Then all of these guys will join. And North Carolina is all the way up here in Hawaii. I'm going to see if she can make it to the Coral Sea. Nope, failed her speed roll. So now I got to return her to base. Send her here to Samoa. Japanese deploy their submarines. What's that? Okay, so it's going to be in Micronesia. Alright, so obviously they're going to go for a air first. I'm debating what I want to do. I mean, the cruisers only have 1 shot apiece. They could wind up crippling the destroyer or crippling the Japanese carriers. I'd rather blow them clean out of the water. But this is an opportunity for me to avoid giving them a chance for an air attack. The submarine sinks the Yorktown. So I'm going to split the attacks. Hopefully we do good here. Nope. Well, okay, 1 for 1. We got Zuikaku. We're not retreating. Neither are they. Alright. So I'm going to go for surface again because now I can concentrate. Oh, they won the die roll. So they get an air attack. They're going after the Marines. And they sank 2nd Marines. And now we return the favor. Hopefully, yep, Hornet sinks the Soryu. And that was a devastating defeat for the Japanese to lose those 2 carriers, those frontline carriers. They're so difficult to replace for them. And I can land the Marines on Espiritu Santo, and they can guard the island. Alright, so here we are over in the Bay of Bengal, and I am going to go for surface attack. And we get it! Awesome! Iai is attacking Resolution but missed, and Tone attacked the Valiant and got 2 points of damage. And we get to return fire. So I'm going to have each of the battleships pick a surface combatant, and then I'm going to have my extra battleship. I got 2 extra battleships, awesome. So we'll go after the carrier and the battleship with them. Add some cruiser fire to everybody's pain. Ramillies does not hit. Resolution sinks the Tone. Revenge misses. Royal Sovereign sinks the light carrier Hoto. Kiryu is disabled. And Hiai is disabled. Oh well, we got some sinkings out of that. Not the ones I wanted, but... Alright, so all I've got is air forces, so we have to do air attack. But Kinagasa does not have any air attack, so they cannot shoot back. So I get 1 chance. Alright, the Australians sank Kinagasa. The way those battles normally work, if the computer doesn't have the ability to defend itself, it'll just retreat. So I only get the 1 attack before Kinagasa would have retreated. Alright, here we are in the Coral Sea. And I have got Buku air power, so I'm going for an air attack. Idaho takes 2 damage. Now, this is another mistake on the part of the computer. Shokaku has 3 points of damage, which is her maximum that she can take before sinking. When an aircraft carrier has taken that much damage, they cannot fly their airstrikes. So Shokaku is just a floating target right now. Okay. So I'm going to take my heavy carriers and take out their air assets. I'm really not worried about their Marine Corps division. I'm more worried about these battleships. So I got Fuso, Mutsu, Nagato, and Yamashiro. Okay, so Mutsu and Nagato are the most powerful battleships, so we'll focus on them. Enterprise sinks Shokaku. We only needed the 1 damage. Lexington sinks Rare. Saratoga has disabled Mutsu. 10th Air Force missed. 11th Air Force has crippled Nagato. And the Kiwis have sunk the Fuso. Way to go, Kiwis! Alright, we are not retreating. I anticipate that the AI will. Yep, there they go. Alright, I will pursue, but I'm only going to use the land-based air because I don't want to risk getting caught in a night action. So let's see if we can finish off Nagato. Do I want to split my fire? No. Maximum ordnance on target. Yeah, and a good thing too, because all we did was disable Nagato. We did not finish her off. Alright, so Japanese raid returns, now my raid returns. Now, Idaho is damaged. She can repair slowly at Australia, but I'd rather get her repaired quickly, so send her back to the West Coast. Everybody else in the Coral Sea. I'm going to send them to Port Moresby. I'm not ready to contest the South Pacific just yet. I'd like a tad bit more battleship support. Alright, so the Japanese were able to get a grand total of 2 more victory points. That brings our total up to 11. I'm not really worried because once the balance of reinforcements swings in my favor, I'll be able to sweep these victory points back. So now here come your patrol returns. Okay, so something that you might have missed. The Yokosuka Marine Division deployed here to the Coral Sea. Okay, they had to retreat because the AI, the Japanese side, retreated from the battle. Because the Marines did not have a base attached to the Coral Sea, those Marines were lost. So that's why you do not see Yokosuka division anywhere around here. That's one of the reasons why I wasn't worried about them. Alright, so now my returns. So up here in the Hawaiian Islands, I'm going to have the two battleships. Believe me, we are not done with the Coral Sea yet, so I'm going to have the two battleships return to Australia. So I get 1 point of repair there at Ceylon for the Valiant. I have 4 points now available at Pearl. So we'll use that to completely repair Pennsylvania and give 1 more point to the Tennessee. And then Idaho on the west coast gets repaired. So we got to remove the two British carriers, the two fleet carriers. They got to go back to fighting in Europe. The Japanese do not get any reinforcements this turn, while I get the two British cruisers, 2 more land-based air, and the remainder of the Washington, the 1930s battleships, and the Wasp arrives at Hawaii. So unfortunately I lost Yorktown, so Wasp is replacing her. But I do have the other carriers, so that is obviously that's a good thing. Any of you that are familiar with the history of World War II, you will know that time is massively against the Japanese in this war. And this game, as well as Avalon Hill's original game, Victory in the Pacific, they faithfully represented that, or recreated that. All right, so we're up to my patrols now. Now you'll notice, again, we have a large force patrolling into the Coral Sea. There is not a force going to the Indian Ocean this time. Quite frankly, the Japanese are already starting to feel the losses. So we have 2 carriers and a light carrier still sitting in Singapore. They could go either to the Bay of Bengal or to Coral Sea and support there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they could also make it to Micronesia. I'm anticipating once again this big force is going to hit Coral Sea. I don't know if we'll have another spoiler attack into Micronesia or not. We'll see. Alright, so here at Australia, the battleships come out. I put the battleships on patrol because the AI understands that the patrolling vessels are the ones that control the victory points. So it will at least try, to focus on sinking those ships in order to deny the victory points. That's part of the reason why I use the battleships, because of their massive defensive capabilities. And then a couple of cruisers as escort for each of the battleships. Alright, so I need at least 2 cruisers patrolling here just to be on the safe side. We'll only have 1 cruiser patrol the Bay of Bengal. Maybe I can sucker the AI into bringing this small strike force over here. Chicago patrols the Hawaiian Islands as usual. Astoria in the Northern Pacific, and San Francisco in the Aleutian Islands. I normally don't patrol the Indian Ocean because, as I mentioned in the previous episode, as the Allies, you do not get any victory points for this. Alright, so back to land-based air movement. Now, unless the AI is challenged while it's playing the Japanese, it will try to spread out its land-based air. All right, the Aussies and the Kiwis are in the Coral Sea this time. I'll keep 10th Air Force over in Bay of Bengal just in case. Actually, I got to reinforce Bay of Bengal just so I'll send 11th Air Force also just in case those carriers do come over there. Thirteenth Air Force to the Hawaiian Islands just in case there's a carrier raid. Same thing with Micronesia. Okay, so I've got more land-based air units than the Japanese side does, so now that they've deployed all of theirs, I get to deploy the rest of mine instead of this going back and forth. So I want to have a second one here in Micronesia just to be on the safe side, and I'll send the Marines to back up the Aussies and the Kiwis. So here come the amphibious attacks. Both Japanese, the Sasebo and the Kure divisions are in the Coral Sea. And I am going to hold 1st Marines on Espiritu Santo. Alright, so here come the Japanese raids. So the computer broke up that force, and there it is. There's the spoiler raid going to Micronesia. Oh, and they're getting backup from the 3 remaining ships. Oh no, there's 5 going down. Okay. Or no, that's a grand total of 5. Okay. So they are not deploying Yamashiro. I have no idea why. Alright, so what are we dealing with now? I've got a fleet carrier, light carrier, a battle cruiser, and 2 cruisers here in U.S. mandate. Okay. So, but I got nothing in Hawaiian Islands. No enemy raids there. So we are going to take all of my available combatants in the Hawaiian Islands, and we're going to bring them down into Micronesia in order to counter or help counter this this assault, this raid. So now I got the 1 heavy carrier, the 2 land-based air, and 2 cruisers, 3 battleships. What do we still have over here? We got 1 more battleship over here. I got 1 battle cruiser. I've got 3 battleships here already, along with 6 cruisers. They're coming at me with 2 battleships, 1 battle cruiser, and what is that? A total of 7 heavy cruisers, but only 1 fleet carrier. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to take the guys at Espiritu Santo and I'm going to reinforce my guys in Micronesia. So that gives me 2 heavy carriers there. Everything else here at Port Moresby is going into the Coral Sea. What happened? Oh, I forgot to select them. There we go. So I still got this 1 battleship back here. I got 3 battleships already in Micronesia. So let's go ahead and we will send North Carolina to the Coral Sea. Now everybody at Ceylon. Yamato is in Indonesia, backed up by 2 other battleships. Now the Nagato has not been repaired, so that is a paper tiger right now. So technically, well, in reality, all you've got is 2 battleships, a floating target, 2 heavy cruisers, a light cruiser, and 1 fleet carrier, and then the land-based air. The problem is the British, they only have the 1 carrier. All they got is the Hermes, and it only has 1 attack. Only has one dice roll for air attack, and it would be going up against Hio's got 3, and then the 3 from the land-based air. So they've got a significant air advantage when you decide whether or not you're going to fight air, which is a day attack, or you're going to fight night, which is your surface engagement. The die roll bonuses are: the person who is in control of the C zone gets a +1 advantage, and then whoever chooses daytime gets a +1 advantage. It is to the AI's advantage to choose daytime because they have the advantage in air power. They would get a +2 die roll modifier, and if they get it, all I've got is the one little strike, from Hermes, in which to defend the British fleet. Okay, so maybe a more daring individual would go ahead and take on these odds. But I am going to bag off. I will just raid out the British vessels here into the Bay of Bengal. Eventually the British will get their turn. Alright, so we're going to fight here in Micronesia first. And I've got... It really doesn't matter. I've got a marginal advantage either at night or during the daytime. Okay, so Hiryu is a 3 attack with a bonus, and Shoho is 1 attack with a bonus. So, alright, so we'll go for air. And since both of us chose air, there's no die roll. Oh no, they sunk the South Dakota. Oh, you bums. Shoho missed Idaho, or Indiana. Alright, so we get to return the favor. I need that carrier dead, so I'm going to focus on it. And then, since I'm going to have both carriers and both land-based air at the beginning of next turn, I can ignore Shoho, and we'll use land-based air on Congo. Alright, so Hiryu is sunk, and Congo is sunk. Alright, so we are not going to retreat. I'm pretty sure the computer will. Yep, there they go. We are going to pursue. And this time I'm not worried about a night. Oh, I can bring the battleships with me. Awesome. Usually the battleships are too slow to pursue. The computer compares the speed rating for each of the vessels, and only the vessels that can match or beat the retreating vessels are able to follow. I'm guessing the battleships are fast enough because Shoho is actually the slowest vessel out of that group. So let's go get them. I'm going to go for air again. Oh, air followed by night, so it was a tie. Oh, they disabled the Washington. Alright, I don't want to give them a chance at a night of having any shots at night, so I'll focus everything on the 2 cruisers. And Ashigara is sunk. And Keiko is sunk. And now we go to night action. Shoho does not have any guns as far as I know. Some carriers back then had 8-inch and 5-inch guns, and they get a chance to get a shot. But Shoho doesn't have any effective guns, so my entire night action force gets to dogpile on Shoho. And it doesn't take much. Indiana took her out. Alright, so now Washington is only disabled. It didn't take any actual hits that need to be repaired. So I will have her return to Espiritu Santo, where she will be able to participate in the next turn. Alright, so second battle of the Coral Sea. I have the air advantage. And we win the die roll. The submarine damaged and disabled Lexington, but did not sink her. And we lose the North Carolina. Now I get to return the favor. Once again, I'm not worried about the Marines. So, we definitely want to sink the Kaga. So we'll put 2 on her. Mutsu is the heaviest battleship they have in this. They got Issei and the battlecruiser Kirishima. So let's go ahead and put 2 on Issei and hope for the best. And the last 2 will go against Kirishima. Alright, Enterprise doesn't get any hits, but Lexington saves their bacon by sinking the Kaga. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Saratoga sank the Mutsu. Somebody got Lexington. Who did that? No, Lexington did get. Okay, Kaga. Saratoga sank the Mutsu. Sorry about that. And then it looks like, okay, yep, RAAF got 2 hits on Issei. And then the Kiwis disabled it. And then the Marine Corps sank the Kirishima. All right, we are not retreating. We've got this in hand. I suspect, yep, the computer is out of here. We will pursue. And I got tons of cruisers, so I am going to take a chance at a night action. I'm on a roll. I'm going to choose day, but if I should fail and I get night action, I got plenty of cruisers. Yep, air pursuit. That was close, too. I required both of my bonuses, the sea control and the air bonus, to win that roll. All right. So it really doesn't matter who I go after. We're going to split things up here a little bit. And hopefully, okay, so who is that? Otago is sunk. Chokai is sunk. And Paguro escapes, but the Maya is sunk. Oh, way to go, Marines! So again, the Japanese Marines have no place to retreat to, so they are lost. Now, Marine Corps divisions, they are like land-based air. They will come back after 2 turns. You will have them available again. See up here, elimination, no port available, so the Marines are gone. Alright, Lexington took 2 points of damage. I need to get that repaired. I want to get it repaired as quickly as possible, so we are going to go back to the West Coast. Japan can repair up to 6 points of damage, but you've got to be in Japan to do it. Ceylon and Suez, they can repair 1 point each. Australia can repair 1 point. U.S. West Coast can repair 3. Pearl Harbor increases its repair ability as the game goes by. Alright, so all of my raiders here in the Coral Sea, they're going to go back to Port Moresby. I'm still not ready to take on the South Pacific just yet. British and Dutch return to Ceylon. And my Micronesia guys go there to Espiritu Santo. Okay, so once again, the Japanese were able to gain 2 victory points, so they're up to 13. For those of you that are familiar with victory in the Pacific, this is bad news for the Japanese. They need to be a lot higher right now. Alright, patrol returns. See, Nagato needs to return to Japan. All the battleships in the Coral Sea. The reason that I'm sending all these guys to Port Moresby is because if the AI should use the Japanese to make a significant raid into the Indian Ocean, I am able to try and counter it. Alright, so we're going to finish up here with me just returning all of my raiders, or excuse me, all of my patrollers, and then we'll do repairs. So yeah, so here you go. They repaired a ship that was up there. That gets Valiant fully repaired. So we'll repair Tennessee and California, repair the Lexington, and there we go. Alright, so it's going to shift over to the next turn, but we're going to stop here for this episode, and we will get back to this as soon as possible, as soon as I'm able to have time to be able to make another video. Like I said, this is not a 9 to 5 for me. This is just whenever I've got some spare time. I apologize for that. It's part of the reason why I make this a casual gaming channel. But please, I'd appreciate it if you go ahead and you like the content. Please subscribe. Please leave a like. And if there's other folks out there that are like you, that like these gaming channels, by all means, let them know I'm out here, and let them know we're trying to grow the channel, even though it is going to be slow going. All right. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.